I'm Bob the Cigar Guy. This is Traveler's Rest, South Carolina. I am excited to be not on the first harvest, but today on the second harvest. What am I talking about? I'm talking about a Dominican puro. That's right. All this tobacco comes from one farm way up high. Highest tobacco grown commercially for cigars in the whole wide world, in the Dominican Republic. That's right, in greenhouses. This is the Altura second harvest right here. Look at that thing. Gorgeous bands, beautiful, nice. But how does this smoke, right? This first harvest was amazing. It was. Second harvest, second year. Let's see how this does. Man, oh man, let me pull that footband. Bob, let's pull the footband off because you don't want to smoke the dank. That band's tight. You don't want to smoke the dang band. That changes the flavor expressions that the master blender wanted you to enjoy, right? So we're going to go ahead and we are going to toast and go. Get into this thing. Now, Altura Natura, I bet you don't know this company, but I bet you will. Young company. Started off with a great story. One day we'll have Lane Crenshaw on. He knows all things Natura. And he'll sit here and he'll talk to us about his whole experience with this company. Not today. Today I'm not going to sit and talk to you a long time about how it was COVID and the owner of the tobacco company never did tobacco before, was a vegetable grower. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about the fact that the COVID, everybody turned into Bob the Cigar Guy and didn't eat their vegetables. So we had all of these greenhouses and all these people. And he goes, well, I don't want to lay these people off, and I don't want to leave my greenhouses empty. Let's do something that is shelf stable, something that will last and doesn't have to be sold, right? You got tomatoes. Tomatoes come in, tomatoes go out. Tomatoes come in, tomatoes go out. If you don't have the tomatoes for people, if people don't buy your tomatoes when they come out, unless you're making spaghetti sauce, pizza sauce, right? You need fresh tomatoes. Well, tobacco is one of those products. Tobacco is one of those agricultural products that it gets better with time, right? You can age that thing if you need to. You hang on to it a little bit if the market drops a little bit, right? If people aren't buying right now, which who doesn't buy cigar tobacco, right? You got to love them cigars, especially when COVID happened, because everybody was buying up cigars, smoking because they had nothing to do and they had extra money, right? So that's a perfect pairing right there for pleasure and enjoyment. And there was a stress effect where you need to relax a little bit, and the cigar is a great way to relax, right? But anyway, I'm not going to talk about any of that. I'm not going to talk about he didn't want to lay his people off, and so he said, let's try tobacco. I'm not going to talk about how first time he did it, he about burned it all up. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not even going to talk about the fact that he took a little bit of the tobacco that was good enough and left enough down to a place to sell it wholesale and just kind of sell it off as you know, whatever he could get for it. I'm not going to talk about that. The guy who was running the grading of that company was down there and said, where did you get this tobacco from? And he goes, I grew it. And he goes, yeah, you did not. And he goes, yes, I did. He goes, what are you doing? He says, I'm selling it. That's what I'm doing. He goes, well, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about the fact. He goes, no, you're not going to sell it. We're going to make cigars. And I believe in this tobacco so much. I'm going to quit my job at 20 years running this place. I'm going to come be your master blender. I'm not going to talk about that. Lane Crenshaw, when he comes on, he'll talk about that. I'm not going to steal his thunder. I'm not a thunder stealer. But what I will tell you is this is delicious. Medium to full. Got a Corojo vibe. Not too spicy, a little bit. Not too full, a little bit. Got a little minerality, a little turned earth, a little pepper. Yeah. little barrel char rolling around in there. Now, as a PCA, I got to sit down and talk with them over dinner. The whole crew. And they say it takes a whole lot longer to grow that tobacco. It takes a whole lot longer to age that tobacco. It takes a whole lot longer to do all that stuff because it is in such a high elevation. Being in such a high elevation, the tobacco takes a little more time. That elevation, that extra time, and that aging process does something special to the tobacco. It changes it a little bit. The flavors. When I was a kid, through middle school, high school, skipping school in high school, we went to a place called Itchituckney River down in Florida, Central Florida, North Central Florida. And Itchituckney, let me tell you about that place. You would go and do what's called tubing down the Itchituckney River. And you get these diesel tire tubes, honest to God, diesel tire tubes, the inner tubes for the tires. And you pay $2, $3 for them. You pick them up at the little place, and you go down and you jump in this river. Crystal clear, cold as all get out. Sure was cold, but it was so beautiful. You couldn't tell where the air started and the water stopped. It was that clear. Gorgeous. And you'd spend the next 2, 3, 4 hours just kind of meandering down this gorgeous river, taking in the sights of Florida and just enjoying your moment. I'm not saying that this tastes like a river. I'm not. I'm not even going to say it tastes like a tractor trailer inner tube, because it doesn't. But what I am going to tell you is the way the flavors roll over your tongue. It's like a whole bunch of little inner tubes floating down a nice, clear river. Flavors are clear. They are crisp. They are present. And they are polite. They hang out for a little while. Say, I hope you enjoy your ride. I wish this was an Itchituckney River cigar, because that means I'd be on this thing for 3, 4 hours. And you know what? I think I could like me some of that. Now, this is a limited release. There's always a catch, isn't there? Because before the second harvest, there was a what? There was a first harvest. And after that second harvest and first harvest, there's going to be what next year? A third harvest. All that tobacco comes from that same greenhouse. But it's going to get a little different. It's going to probably get a little better. It's probably going to get a little more abundant. But right now, they ain't got a lot of them. You better get you some. And if you're ever in Central Florida, North Central Florida, you got some time to kill, get yourself one of them tractor trailer inner tubes and take a ride down the Itchituckney River. Thank me later. Make you talk slower, smile bigger. And this cigar, my palate's smiling, that's for sure. I'm going to go finish this out, and I'll see you later. Later, Tater.